Hello everyone, welcome back to one more episode of Quantum Tutorials. In this episode, let us understand about how to create applications using Visualiser and Fabric following the micro apps style of building apps. Currently, using Visualiser and Fabric, we build apps. In Visualiser, we create a project and we create multiple form groups, each group indicating a functionality that we are building as part of the application. For example, as you see here on this slide, we can build login functionality, accounts functionality as part of a Visualiser application. And in the Fabric app, we would create identity services related to the login functionality of the front-end app and integration services supporting the accounts functionality inside the front-end application. Essentially, we are creating a monolithic app inside Visualiser with all the functionalities present as part of the single app. And in Fabric app as well, we are creating all the identity services, integration services, orchestration and rest of the services as part of a single Fabric app as a monolithic Fabric app. So this is the current style in which we are building apps using Visualiser and Fabric. With micro apps style of building apps using Visualiser and Fabric, we would create individual apps for each functionality that we want to build as part of the application. For example, as you see on the screen, if we have login functionality and accounts functionality to be built as part of an app, we would end up creating individual apps corresponding to that specific functionality that we want to build. So this light blue color box that I am highlighting here, it would be a Visualiser app, a Visualiser project having only the login functionality related forms and the modules. And another Visualiser project which would contain only the accounts functionality related stuff. The forms, JS modules that are related to accounts functionality would be part of this Visualiser project. And corresponding to each Visualiser project that we are building inside Visualiser, as part of Fabric, we would create individual Fabric apps. An individual Fabric app which contain only the identity services that are related to the login Fabric app. And these identity services that are part of login Fabric app would be consumed by the Visualiser app that is built for having the login functionality inside it. Similarly, we would create a Fabric app having all the integration services, orchestration services and object services that are related to the accounts functionality that we want to build. And this individual Fabric app, the accounts Fabric app, would be consumed by the Visualiser accounts app. So the monolithic app that we are creating currently is being split into individual Visualiser apps having a specific functionality built as part of the Visualiser app and individual Fabric apps having specific functionality built as part of that Fabric app. And we want to build a project which contains both login functionality and accounts functionality. We would create a Visualiser composite app by linking the Visualiser login functionality related project and the Visualiser accounts functionality related project together into a composite Visualiser project. Like this, we can link multiple Visualiser projects into a composite Visualiser app. So the individual apps, we are calling them as micro apps, and the app which links all the individual apps together to build the functionalities that we want to have as part of the app is termed as a composite app. Similarly, on the Fabric side, now we have the capability of creating a Fabric app and linking other individual Fabric apps into it. So such kind of Fabric app, we are calling it as a Fabric composite app. If you see here on the Visualiser side, we have other micro apps which will contain the assets that we want to have in all the other individual micro apps, and the common elements like the themes, skins, components, templates in another micro app, and these individual micro app, we are calling them as commons app, assets or resources app. We can map them as dependent apps to the individual Visualiser micro apps. So the login micro app would have the dependency of the commons micro app as well as the resources micro app. The accounts micro app would have the dependency on the commons micro app and the resources micro app. And the Visualiser composite app would have the links to the login micro app and the accounts micro app. So this is how the new style of building apps using the micro apps style is provided as part of Visualiser and Fabric. So each individual micro app, as you can see here, the login micro app and accounts micro app will have the forms and form controllers and the JS modules related to the specific functionality that we want to achieve as part of that micro app. And here the commons micro app will have the themes, templates, components that are required by other micro apps, as they might use the common themes, the common templates and components from one single place. As you can see here, the commons micro app will not have any forms or form controllers or modules created inside it, because it is only used for creating the themes, templates, components which can be used by other individual micro apps. Similarly, we would create a resources micro app which will have all the assets bundled into it, and those assets will be used by the individual micro apps. And in the resources micro app as well, we would not create any forms or form controllers or modules, because we are using the resources micro app only to hold the assets which can be commonly used across other micro apps that we are creating. And the commons micro app and resources micro app will be added as dependencies to the individual micro apps when we are building the individual functionality, like the accounts functionality as part of the accounts micro app and the login functionality as part of the login micro app. And we can link the login micro app and accounts micro app into a composite app inside Visualiser. On the Fabric side, if we have created a login functionality Fabric app with the identity services inside it, and the accounts functionality related Fabric app with the corresponding integration orchestration services inside it, we can link them together into a composite app. So on the Fabric side as well, when you create a Fabric app, there is an option to link other Fabric apps into a Fabric app and make it as a composite app. So these are some terminologies and how things work in the new microapp style of building apps inside Visualiser and Fabric. In the upcoming videos, we will look at implementing these kind of micro apps inside Visualiser and Fabric. We'll do an example and look at how things work while you are dealing with micro app style of building apps in Visualiser and Fabric. So what are the advantages of building apps following this micro app style? 1. It's simple and perform a limited amount of functionality as part of each app that we are building, and we are calling that as a micro app. So it will be easy to be maintainable as one micro app deals with one specific functionality, and it is easy deployable and easily upgradable. And because we are taking the route of creating templates, components, themes in one single micro app and reusing them across other micro apps, all the micro apps are component based. So these are some of the advantages that we get when we work with micro app style of building apps inside Visualiser and Fabric compared to the current way of building monolithic apps inside Visualiser and Fabric. Let's see this in action in the next couple of videos. Thank you.